Alright guys, so my name is Chris, and this is going to be the first video I've ever done. I don't know if I'm going to post this on YouTube or if I'm just going to kind of keep this in the archives for myself. I was kind of told to do this to share my experience, what's been going on with me, and I hope this video doesn't run too long. My wife says I tend to overshare when it comes to what happened to me, but that's mainly because she's heard it about 100 times when people ask. I was in the Army. It's been a long time in my life in the Army. One love I've always had has been Harleys and motorcycles, period. I've been riding them since I could ride. God knew, to me, Harley fat boy. Woke up in the hospital one day, and I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know anything. Turns out that I had been riding to visit some of my buddies at their clubhouse, and a guy on a 2-lane road coming the opposite direction crossed over the center divider and hit me head on. I didn't have a chance to do anything, according to witnesses, except aim my bike towards the right, which was a ditch, and I must have been, in my mind, thinking, well, I'd rather hit the ditch than hit a car. Unfortunately, there was just enough time to turn my bike, but not enough time to avoid the car. They said by turning my bike, I was able to avoid going through the windshield, which would have killed me. Leg crushed between the car and my motorcycle. I went flying after my leg got released. I apparently, again according to witnesses and the police report, went flying. And by the way, you gotta forgive my appearance, man. It's been a couple days since I've slept, and I'll tell you why in a little bit. But I went off my bike, went flying through the air, did a couple flips, and landed face first on the ground and slid into a ditch along with my bike slid. I was unconscious completely, face down again in the ditch. The witnesses and the guy that hit me said they all thought I was dead, so nobody was going to mess with me. Nobody even came down to the ditch. They just called 911 right away. The cop that showed up, state patrol officer, I have to thank someday, because he ran down the hill, not caring about himself, came to me, slowly rolled me over, and brought me back to being alive. And same for the EMTs. As far as I was told, as far as I can tell, they were incredible. Let me explain to you something that I wasn't happy about. Besides the accident, obviously. My wife and I had had a fight the night before. A stupid fight, but a fight nonetheless. When we woke up that morning, she knew I was going to the clubhouse, and I knew she was going to a friend's house that morning. We went out to the garage. I got on my bike. She got in her car, and we both left. We didn't say bye to each other, and we didn't say I love you. We didn't say anything. The next thing she hears is a phone call. She didn't answer the number because she didn't know it, so she let it go to voicemail. And she hears a voicemail message from an EMT. His name was also Chris, if I remember correctly, saying that he had her husband, Chris, and he was alive and awake, but he didn't know anything else and couldn't tell her anything else. When I got to the hospital, I was given a 2% chance of surviving the accident. I had 3 blood transfusions. I had 3 skull fractures, 1 right here, 2 in the back, and I had 2 severe spots in the brain that were bleeding. I had a fracture on my wrist, but surprisingly, That's all that happened to my upper body, and I wasn't wearing anything but a t-shirt, jeans, and boots. But my left leg was completely crushed. I had a rod put in the top, and a rod put in, the femur, and a rod to put in the tibia. And we went through 5 months, 6 months of me not being able to walk, me being in a wheelchair, and my legs, well, not my leg, but my foot slowly degrading over time. The muscles showing through, the veins showing through. I couldn't feel it anymore, except for this really bad burning feeling in my ankle. So, so I wasn't walking anymore. I wasn't doing anything. My wife, through all this, she wasn't just by my side. She was my everything. She was my rock. She cleaned my wound on my foot twice a day, something that was the most horrible, disgusting thing anybody could ever imagine, She took care of me. She put me in the bathtub. She helped me on the toilet. She helped me brush my teeth. She helped me do a lot. And I haven't showed my appreciation. My nerves were so shot in my leg that I couldn't stand. I couldn't stand, and I couldn't put my leg down in the wheelchair. So anything over 15, 20 seconds, my nerves became on fire, and I was just in incredible, massive pain. And I was just on incredible painkillers and all kinds of medication. The pain was unbearable. If you heard that, that's my wife actually texting me. Anyway, so we saw a doctor, and then we got a second opinion, and my wife, and finally they asked me, this doctor, who happened to be in Iraq the same time I was in Iraq and was a surgeon with a lot of experience and a no bullshit kind of guy, asked me what I wanted in life. And I told him I want to spend the rest of my life standing with my wife, walking with my wife, hiking with my wife, working out again, living my life to the fullest. I was always an active guy. It was a lot bigger than this, but when the accident happened, I lost over 60 pounds. And I'm slowly working to regain that, but it's been hard. And he told me that the only way I was ever going to walk again was if I took my leg. So it was a shock. And I kept my composure there at the hospital, or the doctor's office, I should say. And we left, my wife and I, and we got in the car. He was giving us 2 weeks to think about it, to make sure it was something that we wanted to do. When we got in the car, my wife asked me about 5 minutes later, whole life. And I broke down. And it hurt to know that I was going to lose my leg. Hold on one sec. Dale, stop, please. Dale, no. My cat being a pain. So, yeah. So then we went and saw him after 2 weeks. And then he scheduled it for a week later, and I lost my leg. Now, you're probably wondering, well, that looks pretty interesting. Well, when I first got talked about the amputation, my doc said that he was going to have to take my tattoo. And I was pretty upset about this. I've had this tattoo wrap around my leg. It's koi fish for a very long time. When I woke up from the amputation, he told my family that he just couldn't bear to take it. And he cut it as much as he could to keep it, and you can actually still see the koi fish. And unfortunately, this side's not finished, but I don't think I'll ever finish it now. I've got the scar from the amputation, but I also have a scar because, unfortunately, the pain that I'd been feeling before the amputation of my ankle, 2 of the screws had caused a massive infection, and it was MRSA turning into sepsis, working its way up. And in a few more days to a week, it would have worked its way up so far they would have had to take me either as an above-knee amputee or at my hip. And any longer than that, and I would have been hospitalized, and they could have possibly taken my life. So I had that happen, and then I thought everything was going all right with the healing of the amputation. And one day I took really thick, strong nylon crap. Actually, it's really good stuff. But I took it off. I took one of them off, and my wife freaked out because I was pouring out blood and pus everywhere. And we went to the hospital the next day, and come to find out I had a serious infection that was more than likely still from the infection that I had before in my bloodstream. And it was working its way up. And I had to be on antibiotics, and I had to soak my stump twice a day and had to milk it twice a day. I was still so new to my amputation and still hard to see it that my wife took time from her day, because you got to remember, I hadn't been working at this time with the accident and everything going on. She took time from her work, came home tired, miserable, wanting to sleep, and still soaked my leg and milked it and squeezed everything out and wrapped it and took care of it and had to pack it, which is a very painful process that I would not recommend to anybody. And she did that at night, and she did that in the morning time. She woke up before work and she did that. So I'll tell you what, this video is going pretty long. It's already at 12 minutes. I am an IT guy by trade and by school, but I've never really done this, so I'm not too sure how to really edit this video much. So I don't know if I'm going to be editing this one. So I'll stop this video, and then I'll make a second one, and I'll post those two. And that one will kind of go into a little bit more detail about how my process has been so far. So I'll catch you in the next one.